Hi, love, and today we're going to be building a refurbished factory kind of thing for my Build a City Challenge Grips Hilago. Now, the reason why I'm building this, abandoned factory is because it's actually an orphanage, which sounds like an OSHA violation. It sounds really dangerous, and it is. But I just suddenly, just randomly had this idea now because of what's happened in my BACC. I was kind of like pushed to make this orphanage a lot sooner than I was anticipating because I was initially going to, when the population reached 100, then I was going to add like an orphanage and all these like social service kinds of buildings. But the game, or myself even, didn't really want to do that. So as you can see here, I'm trying to get like that. If you've seen a factory, you know what I'm talking about. They'll have like the roof thing at the front, and then they'll have like a different kind of roof that doesn't have the same elevation. I was trying to do that and it looked hideous. So I was like, okay, perhaps not. I think I saw Kestrel Teens. Yeah, Kestrel Teens on Tumblr made like a really, really cool factory, which like kind of inspired me to create a factory build. And then I was just looking for some more factory builds in The Sims 2 to kind of get inspiration. And I saw Threads and Sandpaper made an absolutely gorgeous factory build, and they had a specific CC set that I didn't have in my game. I thought I had it in my game, but I didn't. I think it's the Cyclone Sue 3 to 2 conversion. I used that, so a lot of inspirations happening here. But yeah, back onto what was happening in my BACC. So the last time I spoke about my BACC, I was building a house for the Trout family. Now that was Sylvie and her three children. Now Sylvie obviously moved because her husband died in a boating accident, and she kind of wanted to like get away from that old town and move elsewhere, where her being a single mother and all that kind of stuff, like people wouldn't really care too much. I think, back in our old town, people like, oh, when are you gonna get remarried? And because Sylvie is a romantic, she's kind of just like the husband that she was with before they had a marriage of convenience kind of thing, where they both weren't like romantically attracted to each other, but they were just like doing it to do it kind of thing. And because he died, she was like, oh, first of all, my best friend is dead, but also my beard is gone, so I need to figure something out and quick. So, all that to say, she moved to Grips Hilago with her three kids, having a grand old time with her little business, selling fish. We'd love to see it. And then ROS decided that she was going to get burglarized, which I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And then I just chose the worst time to do it. So this was when when her eldest went to go to their business and start selling things and doing stuff and that kind of stuff. And I just thought to myself, while the toddlers are alone, let me get the burglar to come, which is such a terrible idea. And in hindsight, it's like, well, the social worker came. That's a really unsafe and dangerous position for the children to be in. I just wasn't thinking that. I was like, yeah, sure, let's just have the burglar come when the children are home alone. That would be a really cool story element. I wasn't even thinking that the social worker could come out. Like, it wasn't even a thought in the back of my head. Social worker comes now, and another reason why I just didn't think it was going to happen is because I play with a no social worker mod. So if I leave children alone for hours at a time, they can just be okay. Like, I think it'll still pop up with that thing that'll be like, oh, you shouldn't leave your kids alone, that kind of thing. But it's like completely fine. Like, your children won't get taken away by the social worker whatsoever. So that was cool. It was only until the burglar came onto the lot, and immediately the social worker just drove right in and was like, She took the kids away. Well, we had to wait for Sylvie and Erwin to get back because obviously a community time project. But Sylvie and Erwin come back. The social workers take the kids, and the saddest part is, even when the kids were in like the little carriage to get taken away, they were still asking for attention from Sylvie. Like, they didn't understand what was going on. They were just like, who are these strange women? I just want to talk to my mum. Where's mum? Which is so heartbreaking. So obviously the two toddlers got taken away. I was upset that Erwin got took away, because I'm like, Erwin's a big boy actually. Like, if you've went on my blog, shameless plug, and like read up on my BACC, you'll just know that Erwin is just, he's just so chill. He's a very independent kind of guy. He's a very independent kid, so he likes to just be left on his own devices. And of course, he loves his mum. He loves like Sylvie would sometimes like read to him and like talk to him and stuff like that. And they're like best of friends, so he loves his mum, but he does just enjoy his own personal kind of space. So it was really heartbreaking for everyone involved and me watching it, because as I saw the carriage, I was like, oh shit, oh no. I'd realized what I'd done. But I was like, this is such a good story. Like the family sim, the woman that doesn't want to get married but wants children, loves her kids, and wants more kids, is now childless because her children got taken away. Like, how crazy is that? But I do want to work on getting her kids back. So I'm gonna figure out a way story wise that she can do that. So for the orphanage, I have a servo called the matron or Dimitron. It's German, but I'm just gonna call her the matron because I can't speak German unfortunately. But yeah, the matron who kind of just like is a child carer kind of thing. Like she was specifically made to take care of like children that no longer have a home. So that's her role as a servo. And so I'm kind of thinking Sylvie, to get her children back, needs to become best friends with the matron, right? But because I have a very, very long lifespan, she's only allowed to visit once. Once around. I'm deciding once around. Yeah. Or maybe twice. Should I be a bit nicer on her? Okay, once or twice, depending on how I feel. And she'll go there and she just has to become best friends with the matron. And I don't know, take her out places. Maybe seduce the matron, I don't know. Do something. And get on the matron's good side for the matron to be like, okay, you had a temporary lapse in judgment, but I'll let you have your kids back kind of thing. So but that's to be figured out when I start playing as the matron. Now Sylvie's children got taken away on a Saturday, so I'm going to be playing as the matron from Saturday onwards, and then just so the kids' ages can kind of match up and they age up with everyone else, I'll play as the children while, I'm playing as the whatever. Because to be honest, with this hood, I don't care as much the ages line up or not. Like that's not really a big priority for me. I don't really mind if the ages don't line up. But that's okay. In my strange town, I'm very anal about all the ages like being perfect and matching up exactly. So even then, like I'm pretty sure Rick and Book are in uni together, even though I did want Book to be in uni, but I was like, I don't want Book to be older than Rip. I have like a very specific thing in my strange town where like I need everyone's days to line up exact. But for this one, I just wanted to be a lot more chill, especially because I don't mind all that much. It's not too big of a deal for me if someone doesn't age up one day or I have a glitch or whatever. It's not the end of the world. It won't kill me. In Strange Town though, it will kill me. Talking about Strange Town, I'm not gonna say that I'm going on a hiatus or going on a break because I'm still very will go back to playing it. But for right now, I think I'm gonna take a little temporary pause and get back to my BACC. I'm the kind where if I'm playing something, I have to focus like everything on doing this one thing. I'm very bad at like managing my time. So if I want to play my BACC and post regularly this kind of content on my blog, then it's like the YouTube channel is just gonna have to take whatever scraps it can get. All the speed builds of lots that I do, it's just gonna have to take that for a while I'm focusing on my BACC. And that's kind of just how I've been. I've always been this way where it's like difficult for me to like focus on one thing in particular, especially when it's like something that I'm very passionate about. Like I really, really like my BACC. And for a while, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna focus on my channel a bit and really get down to brass tacks. And maybe I should have like, you know, what's it called, spread out the videos that I prepared more because I had 2 weeks where I was like posting twice a week, which is really impressive for me. But that kind of output is not the vibe for me. I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to posting twice a week. Who knows? But as of right now, I don't see that for myself. And I also think I just had a lot of stuff that I wanted to get done, a lot of like bills that I really need to just get done. So I was like, okay, the mansion, which took forever, I was like, I just need to like do this and get this done now. Like that was really important because the next family after the Smiths in my Let's Play are the Grunts, and I had demolished their old mansion to rebuild it like nicer and newer. The old mansion, hideous. I feel like I can always tell when a build of mine has been planned out or has inspirations, and when a build of mine is just like, I think this looks cool. Let's just like do this and see how it turns out. Like for this orphanage, for example, when I was first starting it, it looked like a normal house, but it looked really chunky. And I tend to do that with my builds if I don't like have a clear vision or if I'm not really thinking about it. They can be really big and thick, which I don't like. Like the scale is off. So I think I'll put a picture up on the screen. Hopefully I remember. But yeah, it just looked really thick and chunky and strange. And I was like, you can tell that I've never seen a house in my life, because why does it look like this? You can always, this is gonna sound so cheesy, you can always kind of tell when someone's kind of just like going off of like in their mind's eye what they think a house should look like and not what a house actually looks like. Because when you actually get reference images up of houses, the scale is like 20 times better. When I don't do that, it starts looking all sorts of crazy. Like at the start of the video, you saw just how like massive the build was becoming, because I had an idea in my mind of what it should look like, and I was trying to do that, but it wasn't like the ratio just wasn't ratioing. It just looked strange. So I feel like I say this all the time, but I really do recommend you to actually like look at images while you're building. I feel like I do have a lot of video ideas, right? And one of the main video ideas is like, I think the title is going to be like build tips from an architecture dropout. And it's literally just like things that I do when I'm building or things I try to do more often. So obviously like looking at reference images to me is like the most important thing ever. And it's like why I have all these pipes going on here. Like I saw a picture of a factory build that had lots of pipes on the outside, and I was like, oh well, my BACC is steampunk. Let's add some steampunk piping and like make it look really cool. Like I just saw an opportunity, and I wouldn't have thought of that if I hadn't looked at like different images. And you don't have to copy something one to one, because this isn't like a building that I'd specifically seen on Pinterest and tried to recreate. But it's an amalgamation of like lots of different things that I had seen and thought, that's a really cool idea. I'm going to take this. I really like this, really like that. And some things were just like me. So like the curved roof on the top, that was just like me, like because I downloaded a new set from City of Tomorrow on Tumblr. Big shout out to them. And literally it's reposited to the Boogie Boo's Nooks and Niches, and they have this like cool glass repository thing that's going on. So I use like the darker glass, so it kind of has like a darker, more grungy aesthetic. So cool. So I've been using the fuck out of that. I literally one of the other builds that I did that I will have to wait until I'm actually playing that household, but it's a plant sim, right? And he lives in like a greenhouse, and I used that set to create like the greenhouse portion of his house, because like half of it's like quote unquote a regular house, like kind of like a studio where he has like a kitchen and a bed, and like his he has lots of plants because he's a plant sim and he loves plants, and he has his little bathroom, and then like he just has like a massive greenhouse area to take care of his like garden and stuff. And it is, I'm gonna tell you, it's my favorite build ever. Like I just absolutely love the way it turned out, and it was because of the City of Tomorrow set that I was able to do that. So big shout out to City of Tomorrow. Maybe I'll link it, who knows, if I remember to. I'll try. If someone asks me, I will definitely link it for them. Or if you do like a where can I find on my Tumblr, I will answer. But when it's like making promises to myself, I never stick to them. But yeah, moving on to the side, I really wanted a fire escape for some reason. My mate, she lives in like a really cool like loft. like a lofted apartment kind of thing, and it kind of has this industrial vibe to it. And she has like a fire escape, like right, I think it's right next to her desk. It's like the coolest thing ever. So I was very much inspired by that. Some big windows, and I cut out. I always tend to do this. Well, I'm not always. I'm fibbing. I'm Fibonacci. I'm telling lies and porcupines, but I am trying to get in the habit of like just turning the camera off and trying to figure out the floor plan off camera, because I am the absolute worst at floor plans. Like I can't do it. I don't know what it's not I can't. I feel like with practice I'll be able to get better at it, but I feel like when I'm on camera I'm under pressure to make a good floor plan, and then I want things to be streamlined when you're watching it. But the way I do floor plans, I'm just trying to figure it out and be like, okay, does this make sense? Does that make sense? It's not a perfect process whatsoever, so I've kind of just been like, okay, just turn the camera off, turn OBS off, and just focus on what you're doing. So as you can see here, I've placed a lot of objects. These aren't like the final objects that are gonna be in there forever, but they're kind of like placeholder, just so I can get like a general scale of how big things are. That's one thing that if you want to like improve at building, is like keep in mind the actual scale of things. I feel like a lot of people tend to make things really big because they just forget how big a bed is. And even if in your mind you're like, oh yeah, a bed is 3 tiles, when you're drawing out like the walls and stuff and trying to make a build look pretty, you just forget. Like it's just slips out of your mind that, oh yeah, a bed is supposed to be this big. So that is something I try and keep in mind. I'll just place a bed down just to see how big it actually is and how much space I'm actually able to have. So yeah, this speed build is a lot less edited than my other speed builds are, because I just wanted some time to just sit and chalk. I was gonna say chat and talk at the same time. Sit and talk for a while, because I noticed that first of all that mansion build was almost an hour long, and people really stuck around to like watch the full thing. And were like, I was getting comments about stuff I'd said near the end of the video that I forgot that I'd even said. I think it was Anibats was talking about how I called Bigfoot fit. I didn't even think people were gonna hear that. I was just talking to talk. I was just chatting. I didn't even know what I was talking about. And you know what the gag is? Bigfoot's not even in Tweaky Island. Bigfoot is in what's the other one called? Three Lakes. Bigfoot is not on Tweaky Island. It's the witch doctor. I don't know why I was thinking about Bigfoot. I think I was just entranced by big feet. I don't understand. But yeah, it's interesting. Plus for me especially, I like to put on long videos in the background while I'm doing other things. So while I was actually building this, I think it was like a 6-hour long, it's like a series. The whole series is like 6-7 hours or something like that. Obviously I didn't finish the whole series while I was building this. No way, no how. I think this build took about like 2 hours, so I got through a couple videos. But I watched this series about this person. If you've ever watched To Catch a Predator, I don't think there's much overlap between simmers and people who are into To Catch a Predator, but I like to watch or listen to Catch a Predator while I'm doing other things, like a little mini podcast. I love true crime, that kind of stuff. So there was this one person called Lorne Armstrong, and now he is just, obviously the whole Predator thing, strange, but like he's just an interesting character. And he's something that people call like a lol cow. Like a lol cow is someone online that like people would like kind of troll to get reactions out of them, which is a whole ethical thing that's like neither here nor there. But I was just watching this documentary about how people like have these long phone calls with Lorne convincing him that like one of his ex-girlfriends, or like the ex-girlfriend who was told that was catfishing him, was part of MK Ultra. And it's just like, how do you believe this? And the thing is, this guy Lorne, he's had multiple like instances of like being catfished, or like catfish before being catfish was like cool, which is like embarrassing. Like, how are you getting catfish in 2007? The internet's barely a thing and you're getting catfish. That's crazy. You know what the worst thing is? The first time he got catfished by like this woman, he was like, oh, he's talking to his sister, like, oh, I think I fell in love with this woman. His sister hopped on the chat and starts talking to this woman. Within like 2 minutes, she's like, this woman is not a real person. Like, this is just someone else pretending to be a woman. Like, this is not the person you think you're talking to. And it's like, how did your sister suss that out in like 2 minutes, and you spent months talking to this woman and you didn't know? That's really interesting. I feel like that's, you hear about that kind of stupidity, but until you've witnessed it firsthand, it's difficult to fathom. Like, you're really that dumb? Like, you, what? That's interesting. And it's the fact that, like, okay, this person is saying that they're part of MK Ultra and they've been brainwashed and they're in rehab and they're trying to get favors from the janitor. And it's like, you're listening to all of this and you're like, yes, that makes complete and utter sense, especially when you've been catfished in the past before. And not only that, but she's adamantly refusing to meet you in person, and you don't think you're being catfished. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I hate to insult someone's intelligence, but sometimes people are just stupid, and he's just one of those people. He's just stupid. I don't know what to tell you. Incredibly interesting person, honestly, but I really do enjoy like true crime and just like watching that kind of stuff. It, to me, it's just so interesting how people's minds just tend to work. And I've always been the kind of person where if I'm watching something, I will always root for the villain, because I'm like, I don't agree with what you're doing, but I can understand it. So I feel like in my BACC, I have a lot of people who aren't really the best of people. And by a lot, I mean specifically Mirza and Ski, both really bad people, not nice people whatsoever, but I can sympathize with them. Not because I'm an evil, horrible, wicked person that loves cheating on my partner, because no, but with Ski, I think for her, it comes from a place of like wanting to feel loved kind of thing, and she just goes about it the wrong way. So obviously she's stringing, I feel like I talk about this all the time, she's stringing Remy along, and like, she was pregnant but she was seeing it to two people, so she was like, I don't know whether it's your child or your child, and she was kind of like, well, hopefully it's Remy's child, because I know Remy's gonna like step up and like be a great dad, whereas Mirza is not gonna be a great dad whatsoever. Now Mirza is just a romance sim through and through. It's like zero romantic. The Don Lothario of my BACC. He just wants to sleep around, and he does not want to be like fully committed to one person whatsoever. Like, that's just not his vibe. But the thing is with him is that he's upfront. He's not like trying to lie to you and be like, oh yeah, I love you, that kind of thing. He's like, oh yeah, this is like a chill thing. I just want to go on one date. I want to hit it. I want to quit it. And he's just upfront about that. Is it good? Your mileage may vary, but that's the way it is. And obviously when people like gain feelings, he's very like cold and callous towards them. He's like, well, I told you what this was, so you gaining feelings is all your fault, because I told you where I'm at and you didn't want to meet me there, so it's no one's fault but your own. And you kind of have to respect that. It's not nice, but you've got to respect that from him. Now obviously Mirza and Ski had a child, Galagina, and the poor kid, he just wants to be loved and accepted by his parents, but I feel like Ski is gonna use him as like a bargaining chip to try and get Mirza in her life and try and just get one man to be with her, but no one wants to be with her because she's low-key kind of unbearable. She's kind of an unbearable person. Like, she's kind of really a bad person, so no one wants to like stick around with her for that long. And even because I remember Remy, I think it was third round, he had asked her to be his girlfriend. Pronouns are hard, but he asked her to be his girlfriend and she said no. And then now she's pregnant, she's asking him, and he's like, Remy's like, well, no, because I'd asked you before and you said no, so what changed now? Okay, sure, you're pregnant, but like, I'll forgive, but I won't forget like what happened then. So yeah, Ski's in a pickle, and oh my god, Mirza. Now Mirza, he had a really, really good date with a townie, and ROS decided that he was gonna get the person he had the most bolts of chemistry with pregnant. Now this was the townie, he had 3 bolts of chemistry. Now with Ski, Mirza and Ski have 2 bolts, but Mirza and this townie, I think her name's Vivian, they have 3 bolts. So got her pregnant because ROS said. And then I have the quads and triplets mod, and this is such a bad habit. I'm gonna stop pressing random on the quads and triplets now. I've learnt my lesson. I press random triplets. Are you serious? Triplets. And the Mirza is a romance pleasure sim or pleasure romance. I forget which one. And Vivian is also a pleasure sim. So it's just like neither of these people are serious people. Like they won't raise these children. Like it's not happening. So I was like, okay, when the orphanage opens, Mirza's gonna be the first person at the doorstep. He's he's gonna be sprinting off and he's gonna like get his kids there or something like that. Obviously, I wasn't expecting the orphanage to be open right now, but the way things worked out, that's how it seemed to be. So I get Mirza's gonna be really made up that I've built it. He can just get those kids off his chest. And the next sim that I have planned in my BACC rotation, he actually is going to be a tea vendor, so he's going to sell all types of herbal teas. Now in the Sun and Moon quality mod set, there's some teas that like there's like birth control tea and like miscarriage tea and that kind of stuff, and virility and invirility. So I want this sim to sell those teas so I can actually have some birth control in my BACC, because it was fun while it lasted, but now it's getting ridiculous. Like I actually need to sort it out. It's been a big baby boom and I just want it to be a lot more chill, and I want to be able to like plan families a bit better, especially when you have family sims as well, or even romance sims. Like they just want to woohoo all the time, and I'm all right with like Mirza having 60 trillion children. Like that's actually his own. That's his own. Like if he wants to do that, that's his own business. But I think both Mirza and Ski would love to go on some birth control and just no longer think of children, especially Ski. I think Ski, for her, she didn't really envision herself having children. So when she was pregnant, she was like, well, kind of gotta stick with it. I feel like if she could have, she would have like not had him, which I think for Galagana, he's gonna feel that when he's like growing up, he's gonna feel that his mother does not want him, kind of thing. And obviously he has his uncle Kawa, who is an amazing, lovely family sim, but Kawa has twin aliens because he got abducted 5 times in one night. Lovely ROS, we love to see it. But yeah, Kawa got abducted a lot, so he is like just trying to take care of his children and raise them to the best of his ability. And as much as he'd love to, like, he will extend a helping hand out to Galagana and stuff, and be out, but he is also trying to encourage Ski, like, Ski, please raise your child. Like, I understand that you didn't want this responsibility, but even with the orphanage opening, I think Kawa is going to be like, no, we need to keep the family like united and together as one. I don't want my nephew to grow up under another household. I want to be able to like see my nephew. But anyway, I've gone on a massive ramble about BACC. Here are some lovely images. Make sure you follow me on Tumblr so you can like read up my BACC. Hopefully I've convinced you to actually start reading it. I feel like every time I do a speed build for my BACC, I'm constantly talking about it, but it's actually so fun. It's so cool. I feel like you'd enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying it. But hopefully it's been really great, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra for now.